What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to be doing the mock on the new TDN Sanchez 4.0 mock draft. So if you guys love mock drafts, feel free, stay aboard, click the like button, comment, and subscribe. Join the community. We got all these great links also down in the description for you to take part and be able to invest a little bit more. Twitter, get to see all my thoughts. Instagram, feel free to DM me there, as well as Twitter, as well as a Discord, a great community going on there. So I have virtual access to the Senior Bowl, so I will be actually watching every single snap. We're going to have some Senior Bowl videos coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Especially you guys who have not been here, feel free to tag along and stay for the ride. Let's kick this off. Number one overall, new guy who just raised from plus, I think, 20,000 odds to plus 500 to be the number one pick. That's Ikem Ekwonu. I think it's absolutely stupid for people to think that, or to for the odds to change that much. These teams haven't been studying these players long enough. They haven't been able to interview them. There hasn't been enough testing. So for someone to jump plus 19,500 is a bit extreme. And to take that and overreact with it to be able to get more clicks is just a little bit irritating. Again, I do respect the fact that, hey, they are following the odds, saying that Ikem should be one of the guys who possibly are factored in at number one. But I mean, there's just nothing that Ikem does better than Evan Neal, except for the fact that he has a little bit more power. And if the Jaguars think that they want to take some time to develop Ikem, because I like him, then you do you. But for me, not a big fan. Number two, Lions getting Aiden Hutchinson. You know, that's exactly what they have to do. You got to do what you got to do. Texans getting KT is just ridiculous. If Evan Neal's on the board, come on. You keep Laramie Tunsil, you put him at right tackle. Screw Titus Howard. Again, you don't keep a good player if you're going to get a legendary one. And if you lose Laramie Tunsil, that's even better, right? Because there's been talks of trading him. KT is still a phenomenal athlete. I know that I got a resident Texans fan here who absolutely despises KT. Again, I think that KT is a phenomenal player, and I would almost bet that he has a higher chance of going number one than Aiden Hutchinson. And I used to be really against that, but this is why you guys should listen to him in interviews. One, I'm going to just rep it. Oaks Christian is a phenomenal school. And you listen to this guy talk, he uses extremely high level vocabulary. He is a smart ass dude. He is. You listen to him talk, he knows what the hell he's talking about. This guy's going to ace the interview process, and people can talk about all they want with the evaluation. When teams get to talk to somebody and they fall in love with who you are, the talent speaks for itself. Even if there's some red flags here and there, I mean, the personality will just totally overtake it. I have a weird feeling he's going to be going before Aiden Hutchinson. That's my really bold take, is that KT goes before Aiden. Even though I think Aiden still has a pretty good shot at being number one, number two, KT I didn't even think about factoring in the interview process. Listen to this guy on Joel Klatt. And even though Joel Klatt likes to speak every single second of his show, when KT gets to speak, that is a human being that you want to listen to, somebody you want on your team. He's a smart ass dude. And again, just got to represent Oaks Christian's a fucking amazing school. It does, the education level there is ridiculous. KT is a good representation of that. Evan Neal to the Jets, that's the best case scenario you could have ever had. Giants getting Kyle Hamilton. Honestly, I would go Charles Cross at that point, because you desperately need offensive line. He is still a top 10 prospect for me. So you're getting a top 10 dude at 5, because that's kind of reaching. But again, Kyle Hamilton's a phenomenal player. I just don't think that his value added to the team is going to be of the level of Charles Cross, if you get what I'm saying. Charles Cross to the Panthers, I would be very happy to see them not go QB, but I just don't think that's possible. If Matt Rule's on the hot seat, the last thing he's going to do is draft a tackle to develop. That's just my take on it, especially since he doesn't want to look bad for drafting Brady Christensen, who did not perform that well. He had a couple of weeks where he did okay, but chill on saying he performed really well in the season. Giants getting George Karlaftis at the next pick. I mean, it's just, when you look at it, they drafted the positions that they kind of didn't really need. If Dabble is the offensive, or is now the head coach, he's going to draft an offensive guy, right? And whether that's going to be obviously Charles Cross. You go Tyler Linderbaum. I think Tyler Linderbaum might be a higher odds of going to the Giants. I do. If we're going to go completely realistic, it just feels like more of what the Bills would have drafted. So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the Giants draft so far. Falcons and Trevor Penning, there's no way in hell. Even Mel Kiper, who loves this guy, I literally was just listening to him live. He was saying like Trevor Penning, he thought he could be the 15-10 range, but too many holes, too many consistencies in his game. Now, if he improves at the Senior Bowl, he could be in that 15 to 20 category. Just it's a little bit hard thinking Trevor Penning is going to be jumping up that high. Broncos Kenyon Green, and hey, the more you guys look at this guy likes to draft offensive line, and you know me, I like to draft offensive line. What I would do mock draft. I think all the linemen were pretty much gone by 10. That's just me. I think that they are the key to victory. Broncos going Kenyon Green seems a little bit weird. A little bit weird. I think that you should go after a QB. Everybody's saying that there's a QB going to be going to Denver. I just don't understand what's lucrative about Denver for Aaron Rodgers. One, he can't just go there. If he could go there in free agency, absolutely, right? But you're going to have to give up Pat Surtain. You're going to have to give up a couple first. You're going to give up the pieces of the team that make it competitive and attractive to Aaron. So I don't really understand what's going on there. Obviously, like Jerry Jeudy might be a part of that deal, etc. I think that drafting a QB is the right thing to do. You keep your star players, you continue developing a team, and you have the star power to be able to really make an impact. And if there's someone in free agency, go there. Kenyon Green is not the guy I would go with, however. Even if you decide to pass on a QB, I would definitely go after someone like Derek Stingley, somebody who has extremely high talent level. Even though I love Kenyon Green as a tackle, it's really weird to go. I just don't think that that's a bright move. It's not best player available either. Just getting Andrew Booth going before Derek Stingley. I mean, both of them are hyper athletic. I don't know what Andrew Booth really offers besides health over Derek Stingley. If you want to go after someone like Sauce, I'd love that one. But again, you're nitpicking at the top. All these guys, all those corners at the top are phenomenal. Washington getting Kenny Pickett. It's weird to say this, but I hope the other quarterbacks outshine him. I don't want him to perform terribly because I don't want to perform bad performances on anybody, because watching good football is a lot more entertaining than watching, well, bad football. So I hope that the other quarterbacks shine more, because I don't think Kenny Pickett's QB1 in this class, even though a lot of people do. I still think it would be a good pick for Washington. I still do. But just again, not my ranking. Vikings getting Jordan Davis. I don't understand people's love for Jordan Davis when he can't play every snap. You know, I don't think the NFL will be as high on Davis as people think. He's a guy who's just a wall of meat, and he has some phenomenal plays in there. Absolutely. But when you actually watch the tape, this guy's doing it one play out of every 3-4 where he actually goes hard. So if you can't be an impact every play, what good are you? What like unique value do you bring as an interior defensive lineman? I don't think he really brings that much. Browns getting Desi. For the love of God, the quarterback spot. I mean, if they take a quarterback, I'm fine with that. Is just like, how arrogant do you have to be to say Desmond Ridder is going to be QB2 off the board? Like, how arrogant do you have to be? Yeah, the guy's done jack in games that like really matter. He's done jack. And then number two, in the game against Notre Dame, where people will, of course, come at me and say, look at he did Notre Dame. Guy should have been picked off multiple times. I watched that game, every snap he did. Like, there are so many plays where in the NFL, those are interceptions, bad throws, off target, behind the receiver. Just he gets bailed out by guys like Alec Pierce all the time, and Josh Wiley, Leonard Taylor. It's ridiculous how much people love Desmond Ridder. I may be on the much more of the hating side of Desmond Ridder, but I still think if he goes in the second or third round, that's fine. When people say he's like number 2 QB, that's just BS. Ravens getting Derek Stingley, I would cry. Oh, the love of God. We're just going to continue. Drake London to the Eagles. I think that's fine. I think that would be a phenomenal selection. And it's how he's going to go after offense, guys. People who try to say oh, you should have went linebacker, this. I should have. Yes. We're talking about Howie Roseman here, and we're blending it a little bit with my taste because that's what makes it fun. So He's going to go after offense. He also will go after defense, but getting a guy like Drake London is perfectly checks out with how he does. Tyler Linderbaum, I would love that for the Eagles. Again, now with Brandon Brooks retiring, there's going to be spots open for him to contribute. Then Garrett Wilson to the Chargers. I actually don't like that as much as the other wide receivers. And you know me, Garrett Wilson's wide receiver 1 for me. I don't think Garrett Wilson's much different than Keenan Allen. I don't. Not superb athleticism, really solid separator though, and good at the point of catch, and good after the catch too. Like that is Keenan. If I'm gonna give Garrett Wilson a way too early comp, it's either gonna be a slower Odell Beckham Jr. or else it's gonna be possibly a shorter. I don't know if he's no, they're about the same height. Keenan Allen is gonna be one of those two. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. Jahan Dotson to the Saints doesn't provide very much upside. I don't think this guy understands that the NFL actually values unique talent. And I love Jahan. Do not get me wrong. I'm not slandering Jahan. But when you need somebody to potentially be a wide receiver 1, Jahan is a guy who will produce number 1 numbers as a number 2 or 3, right? Like he will produce starting caliber numbers as a support. He's carried Penn State's offense for the whole time. Yeah, that's true. But when you have talents like Jameson Williams on the board, Chris Olave, Treylon Burks, guys who can really provide that unique aspect to them, also, they'll possibly all test better than Jahan. I don't see the reason for this. Like the logic isn't adding up. Same thing with Sauce Gardner here to the Eagles. I would love it, but he's just not going to be there. He's not. The guy has a higher chance of being a top 10 pick than he does of being at number 19. That's another hot take from me. Steelers getting Zion Johnson. I feel like that would be a Steelers move. I think quarterback would be the way that I would go in that situation. I think it could be the way they go. Watch out for Nakobe Dean to this team. I would say linebacker is something that they do need to target. Corner as well. Obviously, you just have some good ones still on the board. I'm just not that big of a fan of Zion. I have him as a second rounder, which, I mean, I'm saying I'm not that big of a fan. That's a pretty big fan of an NFL prospect. But yeah, Chris Olave to the Patriots. Don't think he offers much in terms of versatility compared to their other receivers that don't have as big of a name. But again, you can't go wrong with getting a Devontae Smith for Mac Jones. I just think that it's not enough versatility in that receiving core. When you have guys like Devin Lloyd on the board, who could be a perfect replacement at linebacker as well. Obviously, Treylon Burks would be a better choice at wide receiver. Then that's where I'm going to lean. 22, Raiders getting Jameson Williams. Love it. I love it. Ojabo to the Cardinals. I would love that as well. I think that fits perfectly. Jaquan Brisker to the Cowboys. You know me. I usually do that if he doesn't go to the Eagles before. Roger McCreary to the Bills. They need a cornerback too. Fine with that. Devin Lloyd to the Titans. Doesn't fit with what the Titans do. However, I would personally support it. I would say quarterback definitely should be on the table with the guys on the board. I don't really care what Keith Sanchez says because obviously there's some stuff in here that's absolutely asinine. But regardless, Devin Lloyd to the Titans. You know, there are guys like Treylon Burks on the board. Obviously, there's other positions you could target: quarterback, offensive line, etc. Just Devin Lloyd would be a solid choice. It just doesn't fit with what the Titans usually go with for linebackers. Kyrie Elam to the Buccaneers. I think I've been doing that every so often. But again, I mean, Tom Brady is retiring. I'm pretty sure that's been pretty much announced worldwide. But I think Treylon Burks, again, he's still on the board. You have to go with that route. Nakobe Dean to the Packers. That'd be a damn steal. You can also use him as a pass rusher. That's what I love. Treylon Burks to the Dolphins. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get for that pick, man. That's as good as you're going to get. Chiefs getting Daxton Hill. That's a big possibility. He plays in the slot a lot. He played 80% of his snaps there. So I think that he can work as a nickel slot safety. And that's exactly what they're kind of looking for, replacing Daniel Sorensen, working with Juan Thornhill there. That'd be a pretty nice pairing. Daniel Faalele to the – why does everybody think that Daniel Faalele is the shit? I was his biggest fan. You need to watch him play. There's just so many technical flaws to this game. I think it might be the Jordan Mailata effect, and people just want to have these big names in here, but just say no. Why would the Bengals get a developmental tackle? It just doesn't make sense. If you want to get someone who can start right away, I think Max Mitchell has a higher percentage chance of going in the first than Daniel Faalele. There's another hot take, but Max Mitchell's ready. He can block. Like Daniel Faalele has stretches where it's like you don't think that he's a football player on the field. And again, that size, yeah, it's crazy. You can get a big guy in most drafts, right? There's guys who are 6'7", 6'8" in this draft. Are they 380 pounds? No, and that's okay. But you don't need to overdraft because a guy has a lot of weight. That just, again, you can take a shot on that in the second. You need someone who can impact now for the Bengals because you don't want Joe to continue getting hit. Daniel Faalele's not the guy to let that happen. Malik Willis to the Lions. I love Malik. The Lions do need something to happen, and I wouldn't be too mad if that were the case. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.